Thank you all so much. Thank you to Deb and everyone at HRC, and to all of you for honoring me tonight. With all that is going on in our country and the world right now, it is so meaningful for me to be sharing this moment with all of you, and so thank you again for your kindness. In these challenging times, it is more important than ever that we take the time to pause and reflect, not only to celebrate all of the remarkable accomplishments of our communities, but also to renew our commitment and continuing our unfinished fight for collective liberation for all of us. I am part of the last generation to have come of age at the time of Stonewall. Yes, I'm turning 68 this year. And I must admit that it is sometimes hard for me to believe how much has changed in my life and the world in the past 7 decades. I grew up in a world long before the internet, laptops, cell phones, and social media, before LGBTQ legal protections, organizations, programs, or services, back in a time when coming out and finding others like me meant going to bars, clubs, cruising areas, and the streets. As a child in the 1960s, before I had any of the language that we use today to describe what I was feeling, I knew that my emerging gender identity and sexual orientation were very queer, and not in the good way like we use that word now. I remember play acting the characters from TV shows like The Addams Family and Batman with my brothers and cousins, and of course it was only natural, at least to me, that I would play Morticia and Catwoman or the other female characters. I also remember getting crushes on boys in elementary school, and on one memorable night during a game of hide and seek in my neighborhood, receiving my first sloppy wet kiss from a cute boy who was a year older than me, and I must say, it was magical. By the time of Stonewall in 1969, I was 12 years old, and I most definitely knew who I was and who I loved. Unfortunately, so did everyone else, and my visibility made me a target of bullying, harassment, and violence from peers and even strangers, so much so that my parents enrolled me in a self-defense class when I was only 13 to cope with it all. What I experienced and my recognition of how it was connected to the oppression experienced by other marginalized communities led me to become an activist, first in the feminist, holistic health, and racial justice movements, and then in the LGBTQ plus movement in the late 1970s, although we didn't use all the letters back then. And in 1980, I joined the founders of Bagley, the Boston Alliance of LGBTQ plus youth, first as a youth member, then as an adult leader, and the rest, as they say, is history. For those of you who don't know, Bagley was established by young people who were seeking safety, support, and community in a world that was hostile to them simply because of who they were. Over the years, Bagley has grown to become a Boston-based statewide organization that, along with our Agley network, provides support for basic needs, health, and leadership development to over 5,000 youth and young adults each year. Now, 45 years later, Bagley is the oldest and largest LGBTQ plus youth organization in New England and one of the longest standing in the nation. As I reflect back on all that our community has accomplished in Stonewall, and long before that as well, we have so much to be proud of. Local activists here in Massachusetts were leaders in removing homosexuality from the list of mental disorders in the American Psychological Association's Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, and electing the first openly lesbian Massachusetts state representative in the 1970s. Mobilizing grassroots and local government response to the HIV/AIDS epidemic, and adding sexual orientation protections to the Massachusetts non-discrimination law in the 1980s. Expanding those protections to students in public schools and establishing the nation's first and still only state government commission on LGBTQ youth in the 1990s. And securing same-sex marriage in 2004, and adding most and then all gender identity protection to the state's non-discrimination law in 2011 and 2015, and so much more. And yet, now, here we are. We are experiencing some of the most hateful, targeted, and coordinated attacks on our communities from the highest levels of our federal government, all of which threaten to roll back our decades of progress. As we face what may become the fight of our lifetimes, just remember, we have been here before. Maybe not exactly in these circumstances, and definitely not after all that we have accomplished, but this is not the first time that our communities have confronted adversity. And no matter how much they have tried to deny us, minimize us, silence us, and erase us, our community has not only survived, but thrived. We know that the most successful movements for justice are intersectional, intergenerational, and multi-issue, and are focused on collective liberation for all, especially those who are most marginalized. Trans and LGBTQ+ justice, immigration justice, racial justice, gender and reproductive justice, disability justice, economic justice, and so much more are all interconnected. And so never forget that when they come for one of us, they come for all of us. So what can you do? Do what young people at Bagley do, taking care of themselves and each other, taking agency in their lives, taking action to create positive change in their communities, and making sure that no one is left behind. Find your superpower and use it to make a difference in whatever ways that you can. Offer your time, money, or skills to support our local and national community actions, groups, and organizations that are organizing and providing critical support, outreach, and services every day. Seek out and build your communities and cherish your chosen family and friends, the people who will love you, support you, and believe in you, even when you are not always able to believe in yourself. We will need all of us in the weeks and months and years ahead as we navigate what is to come, and so remember to have fun along the way and find the things that bring you rest, renewal, and joy each and every day. We are all in this together, and so to quote Stonewall veteran Miss Major, trans activist and Stonewall veteran Miss Major, who spoke at Boston's Trans Day of Remembrance just this past November, fight like hell. Thank you.